And we're live. Welcome to Hot Takes. Good evening, new chatters and OGs alike. We got a very special guest for you tonight. I guess I should introduce us first. Even though Strip Silence is a long overdue guest, but I'm Young Shiro, guys. I'm a vaporwave DJ and personality, and my co-host Skeleton Lipstick's vaporwave DJ and artist. And he runs a show called Terminally Chill. Anyway, so we're here to say hello and to, of course, have fun, hang out, talk about art and music, argue, debate, geek out, and, of course, drop those hot takes. Strip Silence is a beloved member of the community, pillar of the Utopia District team, and has been with Hot Takes pretty much since day one. He's a mod, a very active member in the community, scratch DJ, artist, very knowledgeable guy, so we're very excited to have him tonight. A lot of y'all know him personally and have some great memories with Mr. Strip Silence, a.k.a. Marty Memphis, if y'all remember. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to lay down some ground rules. Hey, Roge, thanks for the donation. 69, nice. Lay down some ground rules, explain the commands, and then I got the take tonight. Skelly's going to give some recs, then I've got the take. We're going to bring on our much lauded guest. Keep me in the loop. I guess our simulcast to YouTube is not working. But just let me know if it's too loud, too quiet. Appreciate y'all helping us out in the chat. Don't forget, it's a great idea to punch up. You can shit talk anybody famous that you want. In fact, I encourage it. Just no punching down. Please look after your fellow man. Don't steal or talk down about your fellow man. And then just keep it clean in chat. Let's stay away from racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, etc. And then, of course, there's the commands. Guys, if you put an exclamation point, you do all kinds of stuff, like comp. You can go check out the Hot Takes Volume 1 comp. Discord. Go check out our Discord server. Donate if the spirit moves you. You can follow us. Oops, that does not say follow. You can follow us on our socials if you type in exclamation point follow and exclamation point Skelly and Shiro. Follow us individually. And then, of course, BFant designed some shirts for Vaporade. Check out the shirts. I thought it's shirt, not shirts. And then, of course, I think Vaporade will take you to the actual YouTube video of the entirety of the Vaporade live stream event that Quiz put on. I'm forgetting something, I'm sure. But anyways, Spotify. Check out our Spotify playlist. Guys, we have all kinds of carefully, uniquely curated Spotify playlists by previous guests. And, of course, in the intro pre-roll, we talked about the official Hot Takes Spotify playlist that Skelly and I put together with our favorites. So anyways, that's a good enough introduction, I think. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Skeleton Lipstick with the recommendations for tonight.
So I'm going to recommend a few albums, and I'm going to start by prefacing it with I'm going to be picking a couple new albums from what you might label barber beats. And I'm not sure if you've been checking out what's been going on under that subheading lately, but I think a lot of really cool stuff is happening. Particularly with one artist who I like, which is a slower pace. Let me see which I want to recommend by them. There was one. Hold on, let me get the name. So, just to preface, basically, if you kind of pay attention to what some of these guys are doing these days, they're moving a lot of the, I guess you might say you would say maybe the haircuts for men style sound, but they're starting to move it onto realms where they're playing a lot with the drums and they're playing a lot with the mood and aesthetics of everyone. Not to use the word aesthetics, but I'm going to use the word aesthetics. They're playing with a new aesthetic for it, where it's feels a lot more open, a lot more broader, like some sort of big coliseum that the music is kind of spreading through when you hear it. And I think that there's this one album by Slower Pace that I like a lot, which is supposed to be an original soundtrack for a fake video game called Pyromaniacs that really demonstrates some of the interesting drums that they're beginning to incorporate into this music. And I do recommend this album. I think you could listen to the song Night Patrol to get a really good idea of what I'm talking about. But it's got a little bit of maybe, the early 90s sort of drum beats that you would hear in a lot of the Vaporwave Zero stuff or some of Clanton's music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So imagine that being kind of incorporated into that as well. And then also, I want to recommend by Time Fragment, and I don't know how to say the name of the album, but it's the one with the pink bubbles on it. Maybe I can I have it on my phone.
Oh,
right
hell
now.
yeah.
This is showing up.
Can you boost
this one right
your
here.
Can you boost your volume a little bit on your end real quick?
My volume a little bit. I turned it down because I thought it was too loud.
Yeah, it was redlining earlier.
Is this good?
No, that's great.
Yeah, so
thanks, buddy.
This one
Sorry
is,
about that.
Time Fragment with the kanji letters. I don't know what what this
Oh, Lux
translates
found it
to.
and pinned the link already.
Right.
Shout out Lux.
Great. That one's really cool too, because now this is going to lead me into my third recommendation, which is an artist who I think is a big influence in this musical world that probably people don't really think of a lot. And I'm going to say that NXXXS.
Yes.
And
Love
and the
that
stuff
guy.
that he does is a big influence
Strip
on
is
these guys,
fist pumping.
particularly the newer music that they're doing. Like I think a lot of people immediately, obviously, associate it with Haircuts for Men, which is absolutely true. Obviously, the entire
Really?
genre's birthed out.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, it's birthed out of his sound, but people are taking it in a direction. But what else would some of those artists be listening to if they listen to Haircuts for Men? They're definitely listening to a lot of NXXXXS. Like that, I think that is a tremendous influence on this scene as well. And I think it's fully demonstrated in the textures that they're using for their drums and then the way that they're organizing their music now. I think that honestly, this genre at this point feels like a collision between both those artists. And I just don't think that. I mean, I'm realizing because I'm listening to a bunch of it lately.
Right.
I think it's very obvious that artist is a tremendous influence on these guys as well, and that entire genre. It's getting to the point where I think it's going to be. He's like maybe about like 30% influence, and Haircuts for Men for the 70%.
That's so interesting. Not
genre.
heard that perspective.
So my other recommendation for NXXX is I just kind of want to recommend. I mean, there's nothing I won't recommend by that guy. He's one of my absolute favorite artists. And I think that artist has gradually, if you've been paying attention to their career, listening to all the new singles that they consistently come out with, they are gradually becoming the most interesting producer to have come out of this scene. You know what I mean? I think that they're
okay.
You've been listening to them lately?
I have listened to a handful of his albums.
Else you'd be saying this too.
I haven't. I don't disagree. I just need to brush up on my my knowledge.
The stuff is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the songs become more and more complex, but still, still. So what I'm going to recommend is just go on his Spotify playlist.
Yep.
And go to like the collected singles.
Okay.
There's like a whole playlist he has on there that's his collected singles. Go listen to that, and you see the different directions. This guy is a restless creative. Like he's constantly thinking about what can I do next that's different. 100%. You can tell he does stuff. And he's
his
like,
sound
okay,
has
I gotta try
definitely
something
evolved
else.
a lot. Vapor trap into like funk.
You're getting into like you're getting into like a guy who at this point is becoming it's One O Tricks Point Never style experimentation in a more trappy in a more trap oriented framework. Okay, so like working within that framework and now adding just a lot of very cerebral experimental concepts. So I think that guy is fat is just no. I'm not gonna. That's the interesting thing too about NXXXS. It wasn't a fast. It was incline. Like a lot of times we say stuff like, "Oh, they are fast becoming the most interesting producer," and blah blah. But no, what I like about this is it's been like a gradual,
like a slow
build. Oh, it's been a slow build of you can tell the person is like learning more and getting better at and challenging themselves all the time. So that's like the thing, and nothing sounds exactly the same. You know what I mean? So
right.
That cool is like, well, I've just been watching that person's career for several years now, and it's never been. It's one thing to to obviously do consistent sounding good music and to work within the structure that people recognize from yourself, but to gradually expand it out and still sound like yourself, it's very impressive.
Yeah,
and I think
it's a careful line.
There's
to
a
walk.
reason why he's so successful. And
hell
it's maybe because he's slowly becoming the most creative person from the scene.
I'll take it.
It's slow. It wasn't like, oh, they made one album and
they hit
boom,
pay
and
dirt.
Just like caught everybody. Everyone was like, whoa, you gotta listen to this one album. No, it's like I went back to him and I was like, what's he been up to? And I just kind of went through his discography recently. And I'm like, oh fuck, like this is crazy. This guy's constantly coming up with new ideas. And he's just been marinating with them. So that's my same Skelly. See, King Quartz gets it.
Nice.
He's
hell yeah.
Liam knows. Yeah, got that. All right.
Of course.
Yeah, no, go back and just listen to those things. Just go through the new singles and stuff. Just go through that singles.
Hell
playlist,
yeah.
and you're gonna be like, oh,
Do us a
holy
favor
fuck. Like,
while I talk about the take.
But I think that
post
guy,
the
I
link
think
to
that
that
guy's
if you
music is a big
can.
influence on the barber beats world as well, and that's great because they're getting more and more interesting over in that. Not that they weren't always interesting to me, at least, but they're getting their. There's a reason why that's now the most popular iteration of this this music thing.
This
here.
amorphous, constantly evolving genre and scene of ours.
That's my Rex.
Man, if you could, while I give out my take, post the Spotify playlist with the assorted singles. Because, oh, did you find it, Lux? She posted the closest that she was getting. Well, she probably found it. I bet that's it. I haven't followed the link, but I bet that's it.
That's just a good way to just do it.
Yeah.
And then the song that I guess let me just do a little song rec from them as well. Let me just the one time up. I like that one a lot.
Okay. All right.
I recommend.
Thank you very much, Skeleton Lipstick. I'm gonna make this brief because it's already almost 15 after, but we play a lot of shows. We go to shows. Our friends play shows. We're a little older. We've been around venues enough times, performers. I want to shout out or send out an extra special thanks to people who show up for their set and play at the time that they are asked to play, and don't be a diva and make it about them. Just saying, obviously we all have lives outside of the venue. I don't play I don't play as many shows as I would like, So hey, book your boy. But hey, man, sometimes you might have to open. Sometimes you might have to close. Sometimes you may have to cancel another gig to play the main gig, right? Or like the one or just whatever. But man, please try not to make it about you and ask everyone to shuffle all their slots around so that they can accommodate. It's not good. I understand there are certain circumstances. I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but like it's not being a team player, man. Don't do that. People remember that shit. Sometimes you got to take one for the team, man. We've all done it. And hey, man, just for what it's worth, sometimes when you open or whatever, you get real experimental. It's kind of nice sometimes, Anyways, if you're asked to play a certain slot, you show up, play that slot, be a team player. Pretty badass, in my opinion. Some exceptions apply, but don't be a diva. Don't do that. Don't think that's a hot take, actually, unfortunately. But people, I guess, don't realize when they're in diva mode. So just do the right thing. Be community oriented. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce tonight's very special guest, Mr. Strip Silence, Scratch DJ, Utopia District team member, Hot Takes mod, longtime friend of many of us, and artist, of course, releasing on. Oh man, it just always happens. I think it was either Tiger Blood tapes or no, it was First Class Collective. Probably some other labels. Let's just bring him on and he can correct me. Say hello to everybody, buddy. Welcome to the show. Hey, there we go. So, what labels have you released on? Because apparently I can't.
Yo. All right, now you can hear me.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man?
First Class Collective for sure.
First Class and Utopia District was my first. Shout out, big
I'm gonna get dragged all night long for forgetting Fortune 500. Damn. Only on Hot Takes. Hell yeah, man.
Of course.
Well, what I mean, hey, listen, you've been a DJ for way longer than me. What do you think about what I had to say? I mean, I don't even think it's a super hot take, but like, just doing the right thing and playing the slot you were asked to play and not being a diva and asking everybody to move their, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, given the variables and stuff, sometimes things run late. Just kind of like communicate with people, really,
That's facts.
Especially the people that are like running the event.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I know that's a super sensational take, but
you know what, man? They only get hotter. It's okay. But yeah, you perform for a whole lot. I'm sure you had some thoughts on the matter.
I mean, Yeah, like it's all about when you run into problems is when something doesn't get communicated. It's like
Yeah.
every time. It's like, oh, I didn't.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Somebody doesn't know they only were supposed to be on for 20 minutes, or
Right.
you know, somebody doesn't
like
know.
Like in 5X at Econ 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah, that shit was
I
fun.
wasn't at that one, but yeah, I was nervous, man. And then you just started talking about N5Xs off the bat, so
Yeah.
now I'm ready, dude. That
Oh,
is
they-
one
Oh,
of the
you want
first
to jump in
artists
on that?
that
You want to jump in on your opinion on that right now? Then?
Yeah, let's
I
hear it.
figured,
I always called it
I
N5Xs.
figured Strip would be a big fan as well, and so I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going to do a rec about NXXXS.
Nice.
I bet
That's
he
something
has
all
something
three of
to
us
say.
like.
I figured he had something to say about it too, so I was like, oh, these will be my recs for today. All right, go ahead.
I mean, he was one of the. He was like my intro to vaporwave, like one of like the first three or four artists I was kind of exposed myself
Really?
to, I guess.
That's a great one to come in with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I came in really late. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, getting right into that's like way out of order for the whole history part of this, but yeah,
We'll
came
circle
in
back.
about...
Just finish the statement first,
But
I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
and then. Well, no.
Yeah,
What actually? You know what? Save it. We're gonna circle back. We'll get to that eventually. Let's actually, before we get too far away, because I'm sure we're gonna. If we start talking about that, it's gonna go.
Right.
And then I'm gonna have something to say about it too.
Yeah.
So why don't we just pause that? I'm gonna rewind it because we'll get back to it pretty quickly, and regardless.
Yeah.
And let's just get back to your introduction to music in general. Let's just get back to what was something that you were connecting with. What was the first kind of music you were exposed to that you really were like, oh,
Hell yeah.
I enjoy this art form, not yet as a creative, but as a consumer.
Yeah. Definitely my earliest memories are of probably back to like I would say right around when we got the compact disc player. You know, we had cassettes and everything, and but when we got the compact disc player, we got the hi-fi receiver and the Marantz receiver and the wood panel speakers and everything. And so mom and dad would play everything like it was super loud and clear. I think that's like a core memory for music for a lot of people, is just the first thing that they hear, like big and loud and clear.
Right.
Like a nice system.
Actually, the first artist to really bring up that aspect of music, which is, I think is really important, the way you said it, is like how you heard it the first time, and the difference in like in the medium through which you heard it. Like a lot of people obviously bring up, oh, you know, my parents had this record, or I had that record, or I heard this in the car. But the idea of bringing up the electronics through which you heard it, and the design of the electronics too, you know, that's kind of really important. You know, I didn't think about that, but then you said that to me, and that just reminded me of the first time I really started getting into music. Was my parents had a boom box, like one of those big plastic boom boxes, and with the two little speakers on the side of it. And I would just grab that thing and like I'd bring it down to the basement with me, and I would put my CDs on it, and I would make my tapes by recording directly onto it. I'm getting like, you're the first person to really ever bring that up, like the speakers and the wood.
Yeah,
the
that's
wood
really
paneling.
cool.
That's very
You must be an
interesting,
audiophile.
And I wish, and now that you've said that to me, I wish I had asked more people the question of what they listened to it on.
There you go.
Right.
You know,
Because like
I'm slowly
really
trying to
remember...
become producer of Hot Takes. So there you go. There's a question.
Hell yeah.
But that's funny because like I remember, because like now like that made me think of like, you know, the process through which I listened to music, by engaging with the system. And that's your first step to engaging with eventually instruments or production. You know what I mean?
Well,
is playing the thing down, pressing the record button. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah, it's interesting. You just kind of struck that in me when you said it.
When I went back to like think about my history through music, it's like in chunks of technology. It also has to do with how old I am, specifically when I turned certain ages and world events and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, so it's like before that, even like I still had like I had my own like Walkman, I had cassettes and stuff, but like the core like albums that like I still think back to them, like those are still like a big part of who I am, was on that like hi-fi system. Like
yeah, I see
Peter,
what you're saying.
like Peter Gabriel, like So was a big one for me. like
Nice.
Paul Simon, Graceland, like Huey Lewis in the News Sports is like a it's like a big
Hell
thing
yeah.
for me too. And then like
that album's So by Peter Gabriel. That was with
oh man,
In Your Eye and Sledgehammer, right? And all this
Sledgehammer and Red Rain. Yep. Yeah.
great album.
Fucking beautiful. It's like perfect. And Janet Jackson, but Control, the one that Jam and Lewis produced. Yeah, I'd say like those four are like real the most like core albums through like my whole life.
Badass.
Through all of the different phases of music I went, I could always go back to those. But so like, but like Michael Jackson, Bad, I had on the Walkman. Like I think back of like what albums did I have that I had the album and I listened to it like front to back, because you know, as I got older, like the internet became a thing, and like, you know, I figured out how to use Napster at like my high school library. So like that is a different, that like alters your listening experience, because
Yeah, it
you're
does.
listening to like singles instead, you know, and you branch way more out to like different stuff, because it's like you're not limited to like whatever money you were able to get as a kid, you know what I mean? And like the couple times you could go to the store.
I've got to go back and listen to Control now, because I haven't thought about that album in a long time. I think that
Jam and
for me,
Lewis, I think Prince put them together, but it's like, yeah, very
That
like
makes sense.
Prince type sound. And I would have been listening. That's just one album I just didn't have in my hands back then. But like that sound, that's a big. I look for those, like that palette of sound, kind of when I sample often, like
to that album.
1985 to like 1988, like the Lynn drum machine, like whatever.
Yeah.
Drum machine sounds, of course.
Yeah.
Such a ubiquitous sound.
Control, I don't feel like Control gets enough love.
It's
Oh shit! I feel like it gets
Yeah,
oftentimes
Nasty Boys, man.
Yeah, sometimes it gets overshadowed a little bit by Rhythm Nation. I
It
guess,
does.
Maybe, or people think
Yeah.
about that when they think of '80s Janet. But
Yeah, they do.
Right, Control that's a great album, and I gotta go back and listen to that today, maybe.
Or like,
Right.
it's like when Jam and Lewis were kind of moved into like New Jack Swing a little bit
Mhm.
too. It's got like a very
New
New
Jack
Jack Swing sound to it.
I do love some New Jack Swing.
But yeah, so like, and then the other notable one that I got early was like, I would say like, I mean, you know, you mentioned that like hip hop's like a big part of my life. But my first kind of exposure to hip hop was through remember Crisscross?
Yes.
The-
They wore their pants
Around.
backwards.
Yeah, because
And
like
Daddy Mac, of course.
Mhm.
I think I just heard
Um,
Lux yell yes from the other room.
yeah.
Probably
So
the first hip hop I
Might have
really
been my
did that,
imagination.
Like MC Hammer.
Well,
Was the first hip I got exposed to, because it was like directed at
yeah, MC
kids.
Hammer too. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Did I
'cause-
MC
kids,
Hammer
you know
was
what I mean?
directed at kids. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, that's the crazy thing,
Man,
right?
that was like he was in commercials for KFC, and like he had a cartoon show. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a people. I think it's just hard for people to grasp like how much hip hop, not just rap, but like the whole aspect of hip hop just like took over everything in the beginning of the 90s.
And you talk
I
about
mean,
that a lot. There's several
that
different
thing, too.
aspects of hip hop culture that I'm just gonna out myself, you know, and admit I wasn't knowledgeable about.
Talk about that for a second. Well, MC Hammer, that was kind of an interesting thing too, because that was a that's like really like the first hip hop pop star. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it was very much like considered anathema to like the other rappers at the time, who were really quite unforgiving about his presence. You know what I mean?
Well,
Particularly because he runs pretty close in tandem to gangster rap and its rise. You know what I mean?
Wait, so they were
Yeah,
hating on
well,
MC Hammer?
well, yeah. I mean,
Go, you go. Yeah,
hip hop has always kind of been like authenticity's been a big thing. Well, first of all, it's American specifically. It started in like the East Coast, like New York, Philadelphia, like graffiti, breakdancing, b-boying, and MCing is like all four of those like formed together like Voltron. That's what hip hop is. It almost feels like it's like a culture, you know. It's like
Culture. That's it. It's the biz for hip hop words in hip hop terminology, right? The culture.
yeah. It's it's just more than its individual parts, which is why kind of like rap moved on to its own thing. You know, they all exist separately, but they all kind of came out of the same area of like people being in an impoverished area, having nothing to do other than, you know, fight each other. And that was they took nothing and they made something from it, you know.
Right.
When hip hop really overtook and became the dominant force in mainstream culture, in mainstream music culture. I mean, when do you think it took over that? I mean, it's debatable whether it is anymore. But what do you think? When do you think when it did that? Now, when it did it, what do you isolate as the point of that happening? Because I thought about this a lot too myself. So I want to get your opinion.
There's a commercial.
Oh,
I think it's a pony commercial. Lux knows what I'm talking about. She used it in her thing. It's a pony commercial with the Dynamic Rockers crew. So so breakdancing, like quick history, like it started with like two major crews, which is the Rocksteady crew and the Dynamic Rockers, I believe they're called. If you ever hear the name Crazy Legs thrown around.
Crazy Legs.
It's not just like a character somebody made up. That was like an actual dude who, like, you know, created breakdancing with his crew.
South Central, drinking your juice in the hood as well.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You know my reference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. So, Dynamic Rocker. So, like, I feel like in art form, there's like this point where you have the attention of corporations and stuff, and they're willing to like support you to like where it's advantageous for you, and then at some point it tips the other way where, you know, eventually you're on the hook to them. And it's like that breakdancing commercial, like that gave those crews an opportunity. You know, they literally came from the streets, and it's like they were able to show the entire world the art form they made in like a very authentic way still.
What year did this come out?
I don't know, Lux. What year was that? Like
The
I wanna
pony
say
ad?
88. 88,
Oh, wow.
maybe, if I had to guess. Something like that.
That I wouldn't say hip hop was
Yeah.
the most dominant force in pop culture at that time. I say that hip hop becomes the most dominant force in the mid '90s.
Yeah.
That's when it
Yeah,
overtakes
like
the
late
charts.
80s to early. Yeah. You know,
Post gangster rap.
you could trace it. Mm-hmm. You could trace
Post
graffiti.
the death of Kurt Cobain and the deaths of Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when like gangster rap kind of branched off a little bit from the rest of.
So I would say that I remember growing up in the 90s, and I don't think people also realized like how like not everybody was listening to hip hop yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you had
A
maybe
lot of
had
people
the
were not
Chronic,
knowledgeable about it.
You had they just like you weren't sure if it was for you yet. You know what I mean? Because it was
Yep.
very authentic,
Right.
and it was very. It was very exciting, slightly dangerous, and maybe the sort of things that your parents definitely didn't understand. Like if you were an early millennial or Gen Xer, that's like you liked it. But
I
your
sampled
parents
a lady in this
definitely did
new
not. It was
clip. She's like,
not okay. That was dangerous. That's like
it's
how
really black, and people are very scared of that.
You sampled that in one of your songs?
Yeah.
And
That's great.
It wasn't.
The remix.
It wasn't really. It wasn't. It was authentic, and it was not pulling any punches. And it was, that was what was the popular, the dominant force in that. And it was very like alternative. It was alternative. You know what I mean?
Counterculture. Yeah.
It was exactly. I would say that, you know, and rock was obviously the more dominant force in the pop, you know, in pop music at the time. But then you have, you know, its great, its most creative son kills himself, right? And then nobody really knows what to do with it after that, because then there are other like grunge bands now like are really kind of falling off at this point. Pearl Jam stops making music videos, and Soundgarden takes a break. Smashing Pumpkins starts becoming goth, you know. Bands like Garbage are starting to rise, where they have like a little bit more like of a sheet of one of my favorite bands, by the way, but they have a different type of production style now, right? And then you get like that weird post-grunge stuff, which is fine and fun to listen to because we all love Third Eye Blind as a great album, but it's certainly not groundbreaking. You know what I mean? It's certainly not dangerous music any longer, in the same way that the Smells Like Teen Spirit was a dangerous looking, interesting music video. And then
and
Puff
for
Daddy
the record,
I would say Puff Daddy changed everything personally. When he he pioneered the Y2K concept. Rap videos went almost from overnight. Well, him and Missy Elliott, I would say. Well, actually, anything directed by Hype Williams, the music video director. It's like overnight, it almost felt like things went from like the gangster rap like aesthetic to there are fireworks and shiny outfits, and
more
Puff
pop,
Daddy and
like,
Mace are in a spaceship playing their dead friend. He's not even dead. Death doesn't even exist anymore. And Biggie's on the screen rapping with them. There are no more boundaries. And like that music is like when then Mo Money, Mo Problems came out, that was the anthem, and that was so much fun, and it's still a really fucking fun song. And like once you heard that, you're like, oh yeah, this is fun. Like, and then Missy Elliott followed soon after that. And that's like, I think when then it's like, oh, this is going to be the most popular music now for the next several years. This will be the, like, rock is done now. But it's like, we're not at that same world that we were at right now before, when you were saying about, you know, coming from, it's different. It was different. But I would say that was when it started becoming the most dominant force. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I would say 90, 92, like right up into like Wu-Tang dropping, like their first thing. It was
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah, I feel like it got really big in the early 90s as well.
But I didn't.
When did you get into it? Let's get that to that.
That's where I was about to go to. So like,
hell yeah.
Real quick,
back around.
The funny thing about Crisscross is like, yeah, you're correct. Like Jermaine Dupri produced them. It's kind of sad at the same time because he did the same kind of like Maurice Starr thing that happened to like New Edition. Like it's just like they just like enslave those kids like Nickelodeon style. You know what I mean? Like
damn.
But Jermaine Dupri he basically took like, because I went and threw it on the other day for the first time in like, you know, fucking 25 years or something, and it was definitely the beats that like, it's like, you know, George Clinton samples, like James, like he used I think he even like sampled an NWA song. It basically was like NWA for kids. That's how it was kind of marketed. With like a little bit of like DOS effects, like Fushnikins in there. But it's funny because it's like still pretty explicit. It's like a lot of for like, because I was listening in like third grade, and it was like made for like third graders, but still talking about like how like crack is bad and like fucking like dropping the N-bomb and stuff, and like
forgot about all that. I haven't really listened.
I was like, this is.
I had it on cassette. I had Crisscross tape on cassette back in the day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's what I had. I had the. It like
cassette
just
tape
surfaced in my junk a couple.
That's the
years
first
ago.
tape you ever bought?
Green
I think
Jelly. I think we're the first.
That might be the first.
I don't know why I thought I
tape
heard you say that.
I had.
Okay, your first, not Skelly's. My
It might
bad.
have been my first tape.
Might have been.
It might be that.
They're both on the cover of it, facing backwards.
Yep, totally crossed out.
Oh, that'd be nuts if that was
Totally
both of
crossed
your
out.
first
That's
tapes.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally crossed out.
Oh, wow.
That's the one that I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah. No, the beats are dope.
Well, Jermaine Dupri to produce that, right?
Yeah,
That's
he
another-
did. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, he's good. He's controversial too, but yeah. But he did a good job on that one. Yeah, I mean, like what'd you say?
Controversial.
Keep dropping out a little bit at the beginning of your.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, stay up on that mic, man, if you don't mind.
everybody's.
I know. I'm
controversial.
sorry. We're gonna have to get you a headset, bro, with like the little thing that like comes out. Just
It was working before. I'll make it loud. I can make it louder. Here.
No, you
Just
were.
didn't wanna-
everyone
I
to
don't
hear
wanna
your
red
beautiful voice and your
It
strong
might just
opinions.
be the Discord thing, the auto, the gate.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
anyway,
so
go ahead.
so yeah, like I think about the first CDs I owned, really, which was I think Green Day, Dookie was one of the first ones I owned. Like I got really into like from then I kind of like
Punk had a little bit of a moment too in the mainstream at that time period between them and the Offspring and Rancid.
well that's what I was gonna say because I
Hell
listened
yeah.
to radio. Like radio was pretty. I mean, back in my day, radio was decent, but I don't like. I'm sure everyone can say that for every time they grow up.
I mean,
but,
pre
like, it
2000s,
wasn't
it
bad.
was like it wasn't all owned by Clear Channel.
That's true.
That Green Day album's great too. I think that's the best pop punk album ever written. Is Dookie.
Dookie's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, we talked about
Offspring
that the
Smash
last
was
time, I
another
think, yeah.
really fucking good album.
With that song,
Just like I declare I don't care no more. It starts off with like a bang. That's that album. But yeah, oh my god, that Offspring album Smash with Genocide.
Yeah.
That was a great song. I used to play that song all the time.
That's a pretty good album, just like front to back, And then like Prodigy, Fat of the Land was it?
Oh yeah.
That changed so much. That's the first. That's the first electronic album I ever got, probably.
I would say it was one of my
Hard.
first electronic albums, and I would.
I mean, I guess no. I take that back. 9 Inch Nails would probably be for me the first electronic album that I ever bought. I forgot about that, of course.
Yeah, I would if mom and dad didn't take it away.
I know,
Dad's
right?
watching right now, I think. Shout
Hey,
out. What's up,
Oh,
Dad?
hell
Guns
yeah.
N' Roses from me.
Dad silence.
That's
Skelly,
the thing. It's funny that they
you're
didn't take
distorting
away
now.
crisscross, right? Slinging like talk about crack.
They
and
would have
stuff,
convinced
but
them that
they
they were
took-
kids. That this is like, it's like kids. But Guns N' Roses, my parents
Skelly,
knew who they were.
you're
They're like,
distorting.
That's not good.
You're distorting a little bit. Like, just turn yourself down a hair. I'm so sorry.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
All right, no, shush. Don't be sorry. Just tell me when it's right. It's
All
fine.
right, it sounds decent now.
Here we go. Okay. So, music that you were connecting with in your youth that was starting to shape your attitudes about where you want to go forward, where you were going to go forward artistically, where you're going to go forward as a music consumer and a music producer. Yes.
At the same
It's
time,
important
yeah,
album you had.
my parents were like really, they were the kind of parents that were trying to, figure out like have me exposed to a bunch of stuff. I tried some sports here, I tried, and that was in like music. I seemed to really excel and connect with. So I like had piano lessons at like 8 years old, did some recitals, moved on to like guitar at like 12, like at the same
Music
time.
early
hearing-
then, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know kids that did it
Early
younger,
on music.
but yeah, it was I just really excelled at it, and I didn't really like sports that much.
I'm just
more
laughing.
like- What are you laughing at?
This just wrote, Isaac, can you turn down Skelly's flanger a bit and scoop the mids? Yeah. Come on, Isaac.
Yeah. Whoops. Scoop the mids.
You got a
Yeah,
compressor on him?
Put a
Come
sound
on.
goodizer
You
on
put a
there.
compressor wall
Just-
on that.
Just limit them.
Yeah.
Yeah, multi-band compressor on it, please.
Yeah.
We can make the like
Okay.
whatever the mastering is, where it's just a brick. The loudness wars.
It's worst. Okay, well, hold on. I don't want to get too distracted here because. All right, so you were learning to play piano, then you moved on to the guitar. Did you ever compose anything at this time, or maybe when you were a teenager or anything like that?
So not really. No, I was like, really just like I just kept like playing along to like with guitar. I kept just playing along to things.
Did you have forms with guitar, or did you just teach yourself?
I had lessons, and then but I just would do a lot of stuff by ear in my free time. Who's joking around now?
Just someone, Crispy Doodles just said, "Can you replace Skelly's voice with Sans from Undertale?"
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like, all right, I'm done looking at the chat
I haven't
now.
played Undertale, but I'll have to check that out.
You know the joke.
Okay. It's chaos.
Bruh.
It's chaos in
Yeah,
the chat
no.
right now, and we're having
love
a
this.
very.
I wouldn't
having a very
expect any
interesting
less.
Conversation about
Jupiter
music
over here
right
sowing
now,
the
guys.
seeds of discord as well.
All right, so so when did you start? So okay, what were you mostly playing along to then with guitar? What kind of music?
That type is like the alt rock stuff that was on the radio, and then like as the internet came in, like that was like so. Yeah, at some point, the kids I was hanging out with at school, like I remember like going down to the store one day, and a couple of the girls that I would see around school were like, cause like back then in school it was like you'd put each other into like social castes, like everyone was kind of jockeying to be like in the nerd guild or the jock guild or whatever,
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, I was definitely nerdy, kind of like fringe, like outcast type. And they were like skater punk girl. Like one of them had her head shaved, except for like did the Chelsea cut? I think it was called or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And they were just, and I would wear my little Silverchair shirt with it was like they had the maroon band shirts that were just like Corn or like whatever.
No, I used to go to.
Nice.
Sometimes they would sell them at like Sam Goody, and I might buy them one of them right there.
Yeah, so I pull up to them and they're like, "Oh, you listen to that ear candy shit?" They're like, there's some real music for you, and they like
Damn.
started putting me on to like what was, the surface level of like, countercult, like pop punk stuff, like no effects. Like I got into really. Like,
I had an Epitaph Records phase.
yeah. Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. So that was the beginning, and then slowly, like it's crazy. I got into like a noise phase, like really
Nice.
young. Like I like 13 or 14, like that when I
Better
worked.
than most people. What did
I
you
worked
listen
at
to
this-
from the noise category?
I'd like to know as well.
Like
no
the
wave and
Locust,
shit, or-
like Airborne
Oh
Radar.
fuck
and,
yeah!
like,
So like
Mel-
grindcore
like-
and shit.
like
That's
Mel
awesome, man.
Banana.
Bunch of 3
because I worked with this dude who
I
was
saw Melt Banana live.
Me too. Yeah,
this
they were
dude-
great. The guy with the little theremin, and the guy with the
This
mask.
dude was
That's
way
a-
older.
Yeah,
fuck
You're
yeah.
redlining
No, they're-
real bad now, Skelly.
he's getting
you-
excited.
You're gonna listen back to this and be like, "Oh my god."
man.
No, it's cool. It's punk.
See
dude.
right here,
I'm
dude.
not trying to
It's all right.
harsh
How
your
about now?
high,
How we
man.
doing?
Sorry. Yeah, it sounds
Oh,
great.
yeah, hard my high. I'm glad you're telling me. All right. Anyway, scoop the mids.
That's so
Wait,
badass
wait,
though, dude. I feel like high
so
school,
you
like you
got
can like
focused.
experiment quite a bit. Like the stuff
Yeah,
I listen
a
to
lot
now
of
is
that
way
came
safer than what I
from,
listened to in high school.
A lot of that came from I was working at this restaurant, and then the cooks would like put me on like all these crazy music. They would like smoke weed after work, but I like didn't smoke. But I would still like hang out with them because they listened to cool music and shit. But Mr. Bungle was a big one. California, like I
Nice.
was really into Mike Patton.
Fuck yeah.
And like
You get Mike
I
Patton will be
got
a
so
gateway
into
for a bunch of
Fantomas
stuff,
in
you know what I mean?
undergrad.
Because then you get into probably like Ipecac Records and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that
yep.
from him.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So obviously Mike.
the
And you
through and that.
even get into Dillinger Escape Plan from him as well.
I was really into them too, and like
Irony is a Dead Scene album that he did with them.
Oh, you had like a metalcore phase?
yeah,
He's gonna get there
Sure.
eventually if you're listening to Noise.
yeah, Converge.
A little Jane Doe
I mean,
action.
Like
Find a lot of
I
high
suck.
school years.
My memory sucks, by the way. I took some notes, but if you say names, like I'll start remembering.
Oh, that's probably better than mine.
metalcore bands from Boston at that time.
Coalesce, yeah, because that's where I grew up.
About to say Coalesce before
Yeah.
you mentioned that. I was
Nice.
about to ask, like,
all that stuff, dude. I was I was
Nice.
friends with Transistor. I went to high school with them.
Billy. Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, where are you from again?
I grew up in southern New Hampshire, and I was
You're from New England. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff up there.
yeah. So, yeah, like Nat Coughlin, like the lead singer, like he was. I remember him like getting signed. Did he get signed to like Level Plane when he was like when we were in like
yes, he
junior
did. He
year.
did get signed to Level Plane. Yep,
Yeah.
that's correct. I used to love Level Plane Records. They were run
Yeah.
by the guys being you and I, and then they started the band Hot Cross. They were based out
Yeah,
of
I remember that name.
No, I was a big Level Planes fan in college. I was a big fan of like all their records and the albums they put out and the designs, all the designs for a lot of the Scram style stuff that they put out.
Those kids were ahead of their.
Bands on there.
They were ahead of their time, man. They were throwing like crazy shows at the little community center near the high school and like, yeah. I don't know if he does music. I think he might be like a teacher now or something. I don't know if he does music anymore, but yeah. So like, there's a lot. It's like once the internet hit, it was like the sky is the limit with like the kinds of music that you find out there. You know, it sounds like very mundane these days, but remembering how it was from not having that to all of a sudden it being at your fingertips, it's crazy.
So I remember before, the way I found out about music was either one through friends, B through going to a record store and just going through everything to see what looked interesting,
buying
and
the albums
C
that had cool covers.
Correct. If I got an album from a record label I liked, it occasionally came with an insert that listed other albums that they released.
Yeah.
They released, you know, other bands they were releasing albums from.
Record labels were the GOAT back then. Like, if you found a sound you liked, you could trust that the label would put you on to other similar sounds.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was that way with hip hop too, like with features too. It's like
kind
of follow.
Okay,
people
so if like someone
features.
guessed it on a track, you could be like, all right, let me check out that guy's shit.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so like that I was really kind of all over the place, all the way up until like 9/11, pretty much. 9/11 is like the chapter ender for like a phase in my life, of course.
9/11. What chapter did you move on to after that?
Well, I turned 18 like 2 months later after 9/11. It was like the end of my childhood, pretty much.
You're pretty much the same age as me then.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, I hope I age as gracefully as you.
Yeah. You think I'm holding up?
Better switch to weed and dump the beer.
I think we're both doing great.
We're killing it. So yeah, right around, I think right before, because I was driving when that happened. So that was the other thing, is when I got my car, then I had when I got my car, I got a pizza delivery job. So I was driving all the time, and I was just flipping radio stations all the time till I stopped. I pretty much just at one point just left it on Emerson College Radio, 88.9, yeah, WERS, 88.9 Boston, that like, because they would have all different types of programs throughout the day, and then they had 88.9 at night, which was like known as like the #1 college hip hop radio station. That's like what really put me on to everything hip hop, because it was like, I think the Source magazine named it like #1 college radio station.
Sick.
They had like JCO was like one of the main DJs on there for a while. He ended up going on to like win the DMCs. I lived across the street from him at one point when I was living with some friends in Boston. It's crazy, but
wild.
That was a really cool experience. Like that, you know, maybe like 3 or 4 years just doing that, because it was still like a very small pool of like listeners. So, and they would do like you could call up and talk to the DJ while the music was playing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey,
Wow.
what did you just play,
that's
dude?
crazy.
Like,
Yeah, put me
Like, hey,
on.
what was that?
yeah.
Would it be broadcast or was it like not actually going on the air?
No, they wouldn't put you on the air. I think like they had the
But he would like
capability
chat with
to.
you real quick. That's badass.
Yeah, they'd be like, call up
Oh,
if
but
you
hey, I
have a
missed what
request.
that was. What was that?
Yeah,
Oh.
so I would talk to them like a lot, and and they would run like contests and stuff. Like I won like a bunch of records. Like I had a signed Ed O.G. record. Tickets too, I've won before there, but it's like it was really easy to win because like no one was really listening, but it was like
That's
the
helpful.
dopest fucking program. And yeah, so that's like and again back like with that was like the most authentic exposure to hip-hop I could have probably had at the time. But you know, they're playing the classics and like new underground stuff. So like
Connect with the most of the artists that you listen to during this phase.
yeah, you could go like Definitive Jux Records, so like LP,
Def Jux,
like
they had
like
a whole
Aesop Rock, like Cannibal Ox,
maybe I think was on there too.
Mr. Liff, yeah, the Boston crew, like Mr. Liff,
That was an
Ed
interesting
OG.
time period. That was an interesting time period for hip hop.
Acrobatics, yeah,
Yeah, I think that that people very interested in that version of underground hip hop, like Mad Villain being a big deal. And I think people were like, what else is around here?
Mad Villain just went platinum, I think, or something like
Oh,
that. I just
wow,
saw the
that's
other day.
badass.
Yeah, like just recently.
Led to a lot of people sort of like wanting to see what else was kind of not exactly, what else was around there like that. What other labels there were aside from what was Matt's label called?
So you had Stone's Throw. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Stone's Throw Records,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think people had gotten familiar with Stone's Throw because of
Yep.
Mad Lib and Mad Villain.
Yeah.
And they were probably like, what
Yeah.
else is around this area of music? And then I think that's
Yeah.
how
That-
Def Jux got a lot more attention. And probably also like Anticon got a lot more attention back then at that point too. You remember Anticon
yep,
with like
yep.
themselves and
I listened to a lot of themselves. I was a
big
did.
fan
I
of
actually did have an Anticon record. Yeah.
a big fan of themselves and what's his name in general from themselves and all the projects that he did. The guy, what's his name?
Who's the dude who's ended up signing to Epitaph? I forget his fucking name.
Same
White
guy.
rapper.
It's the guy from themselves. Fuck. Hold on, let me look this up.
I have no
It's on
idea.
the tip of my tongue.
Because he
I
also
only-
did other
I
bands like
listened to him a little
Subtle.
bit. Oh,
and
Sage
he-
Francis.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
who I was
Sage
thinking
Francis, and he was a interesting little.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy. Yeah, I listened to a bunch of Sage. Personal Journals was a cool album by him that I had that I liked
Yeah.
a lot.
But it's
Dose
kind of
One.
like, what's up?
I think.
Oh, Dose
One's the
One.
guy
Yeah,
from
yeah.
those.
No, I had a Dose
Because
One
he
record,
also,
yeah.
well, he also did
It-
Subtle, and then they did another thing where there's like a band called the Knot Twist, which was like very like a
Yeah.
Swedish Radioheadish band that got pretty popular.
I
for a
remember the
moment.
Knot Twist.
And then
Okay.
there was like a collaboration between themselves and the Knot Twist called 13 and God. And that's a pretty cool album. Like, I think everybody should go listen to that. And then also go listen to the album by Subtle, which was like a band version of had members of themselves plus a whole bunch of other people. A song, there's an album called A New White. I think that's the name of the album. And was outstanding. That was a big game changer for me, that album. It was interesting. Yeah, go listen to A New White from 2004, guys. Let's put that as on one of my recs as well.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot
Hell
of
yeah.
old recommendations from me. Yeah, for sure.
But that does make a lot of sense, with your aesthetics, your taste, and even your music that you produce. That makes sense now.
Yeah, it's the through line is, like even like going back to Peter Gabriel, it's like a lot of the through line is like single like super producers, I guess you could call them, like like one person with one vision, and like their unique sound palette. Like LP is like that, like Peter Gabriel and like Mike Patton. It's like the whole vision kind of comes from like one mind. There's other people
Mhm.
involved and stuff, but it's like one person's like steering the ship.
Right.
Yeah, he's still relevant today, obviously, with
Yep.
the Jewels and everything. I remember, what was his original group? Company
Company Flow, man. Yep.
was the original like trio that LP started in, and then he went off solo and did that album Fantastic Damage. Is that what it was called? That was really
Yep.
fucking cool. Fantastic Damage, because I listened to a lot of this stuff too during that era, so I'm a little familiar. Yeah,
Big that stuff.
Fantastic
big
Damage
influence
was an
on me,
awesome
man.
album though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like very ahead of its time for sure.
LP is still like relevant. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like when Run the Jewels came out, I'm like, what? It's so cool that he's like been able to continually like reinvent himself and stay relevant.
Yeah, and changes sound in like
How many artists have been able to do that from like the 90s onward? That's crazy.
Yeah. He's one of the few, I would say, for sure. Shit, man, there's a lot to talk about. Oh, so
Yeah, there is.
Another artist that I started hearing a lot more around that time was like DJ Shadow. Changed a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
for me.
Introducing, of course.
Yeah.
It's a Plunderphonics goat.
And
Did you listen to any Prefuse 73?
yeah,
Yeah, shout out Prefuse.
I
73.
knew it. I fucking knew it.
Good stuff.
I also got
remember-
a Quartet around that time as well.
Oh yeah,
Quartet's another
man,
artist
real
who was,
good
like,
stuff.
Able to kind of Quartet's crazy. He's also another guy that's just stayed relevant and consistently reinvented himself throughout the years, and now he's like one of the most
True.
respected producers around by everybody.
Oh yeah,
Prefuse 73 would
Yep.
be doing stuff with like DDS if he was like.
Time too, because this is actually when Diplo kind of came out, and he was kind of in that
It's
world
funny
too.
you mentioned him too. Yeah, I was gonna say. But you-
Florida, I think it was the name of the album they came out with,
Yep.
which was like more in the vein of like the Prefuse stuff or the Quartet stuff,
or even
the,
DJ Shadow too.
yeah, or RJD2 as well. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Def Jokes
Ah.
again. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Again. Yep. This music was very influential to me. It's actually like the first thing that I think that I listened to that really made me want to produce different sounding types.
good
of
production is timeless,
Yeah.
man.
And DJ Shadow, he was so much more than like a scratch DJ, but also is one of the best scratch DJs, and like that stuff just like compelled me so much. And like at the same time, I was like, I bought weed from this kid who was a grade under me, and he was a DJ, so I would just buy weed and like watch him fucking scratch, like use the table and like how the crossfader worked and the up faders and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
like at some point, like I was doing that, I remember going to Newbury Comics and I picked up Brain Freeze by DJ Shadow and Cut Chemist. Have you ever heard that one?
But I love Cut Cam. I'll listen to it today. Brain Freeze. I've never heard
Brain
it.
Freeze. It's like, it's almost like it's in a way it's like a lesson in drum breaks. It's like one of the they did another album called Product Placement, is like almost, to me it's like a sequel to that, but it's all these crazy just like Rufus Thomas type breaks and stuff, like all like James Brown and stuff, all like mashed together, and like
Right
it
now,
just
so
really
it's basically 2 tracks.
it's 2 like 30-minute or I think
I just looked
it's
it
like
up.
2
I'm looking
sides
it up right
basically.
now.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Looking it up right now. Yeah.
It's incredible, and it's like it just takes you on a fucking journey, and it just shows how much you can do with just 2 fucking turntables and
And a microphone.
because it's well, he don't rap.
Wow.
I'm
This is a pretty
sorry,
famous.
bad Beck
I know,
joke.
I'm just playing. You know.
Right now, you can't. I was looking at Discogs. They don't even sell it on Discogs. They won't allow it. This release is blocked from sale on Discogs.
Man,
Wow,
if I
why?
still had my
Is it
Sell
a
CD,
this
bootleg?
on the market. I guess because it's like so many people want this.
if
Oh,
I
God
still
damn.
had my fucking CD, man.
Sell it on
Shit.
Discogs. That's fucking crazy. Man.
Damn.
Holy shit.
I don't keep
Like,
anything, man.
People must like this is a highly sought after album.
Bro,
Yeah.
At least it's a vinyl
Spin
version,
it
yeah.
up, dude.
They will.
That's
sell it.
all
I've
your
never
homework.
Seen an album not be allowed to be sold on Discogs.
Jesus. Well, guys,
Yeah,
we usually
play Brain
switch
Freeze.
to guest submitted questions at the top of the
Oh,
hour, but we've
shit.
got a little.
Um,
Well, we haven't even gotten to
We're
like.
not there yet. We
Yeah,
haven't gotten
so
to
we've
vaporwave
got
yet.
some people
I
in the
gotta-
chat who are curious if you want to just bump that back about 15-minute strip. What do you think?
That back a little bit, and we'll continue.
Yeah,
with
let me
this.
Find out
I
about
don't
your
have much
journey
to
to
shout. I don't
vaporwave
have
and
much
then
to shout
do it.
out aside from. So
Let me
Yeah.
let
So
me
we'll-
put the accelerator pedal on it a little bit.
Well, no, man.
want me to-
I
just,
hate
like-
to interrupt. We'll do user submitted questions in 15 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
It's fine. We're gonna get there in a second. But I
We
do
will.
want to get to the point because we're now getting to the point where you're learning to DJ.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of.
So tell us about that now. How does the DJ fit into your whole oobah and your production style?
So I mean, that's kind of like the like turntablism stuff is that's kind of how I came into it. But at the same time, you know, it was kind of like that was like scratching particularly was like really what I wanted to learn how to do first. So, and I mean, from here on for like four more years, it's pretty much just like bedroom practicing every day, like by yourself.
Nice.
So, but it went on to like blending and stuff too, and then like starting to figure out how to like beat juggle and stuff. And it's like some stuff I haven't mastered still, you know. And I just started getting back into it in the last couple of years, so I have to like put myself through some drills again. But you know, a lot of it was learning about like when you get into stuff, a lot of the time like you just kind of start with like prosumer class equipment. So like I think I like burned out my fucking crossfader in like the first 3 months. It just like was open, just like wouldn't
Would not move
Wow.
anymore. It's done.
Were you just like
It's
quickly
he gave
flipping
up.
back
He
and forth?
gave up.
Yeah, it's a new mark. So I ended up having to get a Vestax, which is like more of a pro like mixer to, you know, to start to learn how to like crab and like all that type of stuff. Yeah, you know, it's like skateboarding, man. There's like a whole bunch of names for different tricks and stuff. It's like breakdancing too, same thing. But so that kind of led me, like, I would, you know, eventually found a couple kids in high school that were like into like hip hop and like, you know, would learn how to rap, and we'd come over, just record a couple things, and you know, my Cool Edit Pro setup, shout out, pre-Audacity, I think that was.
Pre-Audacity.
Shit, I use Cool Edit Pro.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And that, and yeah, at some point I started hanging out with like I had a friend in high school, and then they went to college in Boston, and they ended up like I ended up hanging out with kids that lived in like a couple towns over in Massachusetts, and just like widening, like it kind of like merged with like the skateboard kids too. Like I used to say like skateboarding's like the unofficial like fifth element of hip hop, because it's
Cool.
like y'all were talking about like the 411 videos a couple episodes back, I think, like the skateboarding videos, like how hip hop was like a big influence on like
Yeah, that is true. A lot of crossover.
yeah. So yeah, and then that kind of transitioned to like college parties and stuff, and then there'd be like a couple opportunities here and there to like actually like play in front of people. And this was like before Serato and stuff, so I had to, you know, lug a bunch of fucking crates around and you know, put the turntables in the flatbed and find a parking spot, you know, somewhere
And
in
schlep
the
that shit
north
the whole
end
way.
or something, lug them up 2 flights of stairs, and yeah, just, and then, you know, learning how to like read the crowd and figure out
Right.
you know, what in your crate that you had that they might want to listen to. And yeah, it's just funny, like thinking about like fucking Serato makes everything so it's like,
Oh, dude.
I would have
I have so
to,
much
like,
respect for you, man.
I would have to put like masking tape on like the top of my record sleeves, and like the BPM of like what the song was, and like put the like dot sticker on like the groove of like where the cue point, you like, that's how you
Unreal.
do
Wow,
cue points, is
that's
like with
crazy.
Fucking
actual
unreal,
stickers.
dude.
I can't even.
Yeah, Ron was
fathom
telling
that.
me when I went to play a show in St. Louis, the show that Skelly and I played, he's like, I hate these fucking clear vinyls. You can't see any of the grooves. It makes it so hard for vinyl DJing. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
bro. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I mean, I had switched over before, you know, before like, yeah, like custom vinyl was kind of a thing, but yeah, I think
At the moment,
finals. Go ahead.
no, you keep going. Go ahead. I'll add a moment.
It's just nerd stuff. The Final Scratch Pro was I think one of the first, like, I remember the first like digital DJ setup was like the records had like these wires like going to the like off of the record, like going to the interface that was like in between your mixer and your computers. Is crazy.
Wild.
And then they had those Serato boxes after. I'm sure like you guys probably had one of those at one point where it's like the separate box. I have it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but yeah, and then on to like college, and I was kind of influenced by like some house music, like from some people that I work with, that were a little older than me, so they kind of put me on to like the whole history of that and like what was cool with about house and stuff. And
Hell yeah. We're talking about like old school Chicago house, like Detroit
yeah,
shit.
kind of from that like house that Jack built type era, whatever that track is, you know. I start forgetting about like artist names and track names when it comes
Real
to
shit.
that genre, but yeah, and then college, you know, I did have an audio engineering degree. That's what I went to school for. So a lot of kids exposed to a lot more music. It just kind of like branched out from there. And then coming back from college, I started leading up to like when I moved to Portland. I started getting into that was like 2006 to 2009 was when like Fidget House was in like French House revival,
the
Justice
French touch and
like
shit. Yeah,
Ed Banger and Mastercraft, and like I started going out to clubs and like experiencing like that stuff. And then like Diplo, I remember I saw a Diplo show that was crazy. But it was like he was really into like B-more stuff, like Baltimore beats, and like leading up to what's her MIA, like when he did that album, kind of like that era. But yeah, like Crookers, there's that was a whole thing. And yeah, then I moved out to Portland, started I met my friend Fifth Sequence. I DJ'd for his hip-hop group called North Scientific for a while. That was kind of like the first like shows I did as a DJ. DJ Outclass was my name.
hardcore.
Yeah, that's a funny. It's like, yeah, it's just hip hop's cool, man. It's like I was named by like the people, you know, in my little community. It's like it's almost like you're like knighted. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, that's
like
badass.
Wow,
name.
They gave you your name,
aspect right there. You're
Yeah.
knighted. You're given it a name. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that concept.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just hip hop special, man. There's something very unique and just very
Sense
I
as
don't
to
know,
how NXX
specifically. Go ahead.
It makes a lot of sense as to how NXXS would be one of the first ones you get into from vaporwave.
Let's hear about
Yeah.
the vaporwave part.
Yeah, so that's pretty much because I took a long break and like didn't really do music for a while. I was just really into like doing weed stuff, growing weed and selling weed and dispensary stuff. And then yeah, so my ex's brother came to visit one year, and just, you know, we hit it off. We like a lot of the same stuff. We're like the same type of nerd. And he's like, have you heard of this like vaporwave thing ever? And I was like, what's up with this? And he is a big like YouTube video essay guy. He got me into like all of like the channels that I like now. And he put me onto that Freddie Knudsen video. I don't know if the guy who does Down the Rabbit Hole. Have you ever seen the Down the Rabbit Hole vaporwave documentary? It's like 25 minutes long or something like that. And it's I still use it when exposing people these days. There's a couple things that are like not totally accurate, but for the most part, it's a really good like bite-sized intro. Like I showed it to my parent. Like it's like people that are just like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Like,
Damn, Lux found it and linked it. Shout out.
yeah, no, it's
I'm gonna have
decent.
to watch that.
Yeah, there's gonna be people that are be like, I don't know about this or that, but for the most part, it kind of gets you there. It gets it.
Yep.
Gets you
That's
to the
all we
point
can
where you
ask.
should find out more yourself.
Right.
Which is so I kind of just had that in the back of my head for like, I don't know, maybe like 6 more months or so, and then I was working at the dispensary. Just like one day, I was just like, I'm fucking bored of this dispensary music, and I'm just gonna listen to something. I was like, what is up with the vaporwave stuff? So I think like Windows 96 was that's a
Oh wow.
big first one for a lot of people.
For sure.
But that was one of the first ones that came up. I think I listened to Mare No Tilda was like one of the
No
first
way.
ones.
Mare. Wow.
Wow, yeah, I've done shows with Mayor.
Yeah. No, he was at
Interlude
Flam
first
Fest.
vaporwave track.
Yeah, it literally it was one of them, dude. So it's like
Bruh.
I got a like pretty like wide and fair spectrum, especially like getting into in like 2021 or whatever. There's a lot of different
Right.
stuff out by then.
It probably
actually
reminded
started
you of
getting
kind of
to
some
it,
of
to
that
tell you the
French
truth.
touch stuff.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's like, yeah, from how fucking old I am and how many different types of music I've been in, it's like, yeah, this is it. This is the melting pot, dude.
Right.
But and he had recommended some people. He was like, listen to Luxury, listen to Eyeliner,
Oh, sick.
listen to Death's
Greg
Dynamic
Rex.
Shroud. Yeah, he knows what's up. Shout out Rhino. Rhino 2000. I think that's what he goes by online.
Rhino 2000.
But yeah, so then I got put on to like the Pad Chenning. I found the Pad Chennington videos.
Nice.
Shout out Pad.
Lovely videos.
And like it was right around the time when he was cutting like the final parts of like the Begotten series.
Very
it was
cool.
just like a really compelling story, and I just saw like the community that was kind of like forming or reforming, around like COVID times. It was right around when Lux came back for the High Society party. That was my first URL set show that I attended.
Very cool.
Which SPF put it on.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And it was like on the SPF site, so it was like, I mean, that was pretty fucking authentic for what it was.
Facts.
It had a great lineup. It really like kind of showed you a lot of what was going on at the time. And it was just cool, like, to see, like, first time seeing like the URL chat and just having that vibe and just everyone being so friendly. It was cool to see like Lux actually like participating in the chat, like, during the whole thing, during her set, explaining like stuff about her songs. And yeah, I was just like, this reminds me of like of what kind of like the hip hop community was in it, like the stuff that it was like losing,
Yeah.
just to be a part of like a small like DIY community. I've recognized it from earlier parts of my life and like what it is and like the potential of it, and it's like this might not be around forever, and I kind of want to be a part of this, and so I joined Pad's Discord, and that was kind of my first like community experience. And then like he did the Club Chennington thing where everyone makes a song, sends it in. That was like one of my first things I put out, and it was just really awesome to like play it live in front of like have an audience, because that's always what any books or any advice that I've seen about like that's like step one is like find your audience.
Right.
And it's like I had been going through all this stuff all my life, like even doing hip hop, still feeling like I'm too much of a weirdo for this is even too much like in a format for like what I really like to do, expressing myself in music, you know. So it was like, yeah, this is an audience that will really accept like whatever you want to put out there. They'll give it a shot, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at, I think. I don't know if I left anything out. Well, I mean,
Buddy, that's perfect.
you know, from pads, I had jumped to Utopia District. That was another, you know, Indy really. Big
shout out to the
him.
homie Indy.
He's a really close friend of mine. He's one of the hardest working people in the community, and you know
Oh yeah, very dear friend of the show.
He gave me a shot. You know, he's involved me in a lot of stuff, and you know, he put out my first record. So thanks for believing in me, homie. I don't know if you're in here, but I love you.
He is.
Yeah. And yeah, and then, you know, put some stuff out with Zico. But yeah, we're probably, I don't, has that been
We caught
15
up?
minutes, dude?
Buddy, if we don't get some questions
we're
in,
good.
you're going to be sad after this episode is over. Like, oh no, I didn't get to answer enough
Yeah, I know.
questions.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a
So I'm
couple
done.
already, actually. Let's jump into that portion of the show. Limerence Music with our first question of the night. What
Shout
strips?
out, Lemmy.
Love Lemmy. What is the most interesting show that you've played? And while he answers, guys, run those questions up, please.
Played?
Yep. Most interesting show that you have
Played.
played.
So we did, as DJ Outclass, I would say, DJing for North Scientific, we did a show that was also a music video for this artist named Luck One. This is probably around like 2010, 2011, something like that.
Bet.
So the idea was it was going to be like a house party backyard music video. And we live in a duplex, and it's like they're like near like shotgun apartment style. I mean, it was 2-floor, but
Shotgun apartment.
like, so it's like that's like when you like open the door and you can see
Off
it's,
that bed,
straight
okay.
to the back.
That's
so
such a
it's kinda
strange
like-
term, but okay, gotcha. I know what you
Kind
mean.
of like narrow.
Yep.
So it got packed. It can get packed really fucking quick. So between who we invited and who the artist invited and their friends and their friends' friends, it got like crazy packed. to
Oh,
the
so it was
point
like
where
Tape Swap 3.
Yeah, I would say like that. Yep, about that, like density of people. And we had to like they had to like stand on the kitchen island to rap. 'Cause
Whoa.
it was just like all people.
That's
I wish
badass.
we still had fucking footage of that. But yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's like this very small like kitchen island. There's like 3 of them like up there, just like fucking rapping, and you know I'm off to the side. But I think the cops got called like 3 different times that night, and they just
Oh,
kept like
Jesus.
coming and then just like leaving. And it's because it was to the point where it's like 5th is like, dude, there's literally I have no control. Like I'm doing the best I can, and like they were chill about it, but
Good.
they just kept getting called out. They would just
Bruh.
keep coming out. And I've been to a couple parties like that. But yeah, I would say that's the craziest We also
That
got
sounds like a
booked-
lot of fun.
Yeah, I guess the opposite side of crazy on that was like we got booked in Corvallis to like this like country bar full of just like a bunch of people who were like not into hip hop at all.
Right.
And it was just like performing at a country bar in front of people who just were like, "Why are you here?" That was
Yeah, but
the
that was
other
an
side of
uncomfortable
crazy.
experience. Damn.
Yeah.
I have never
Um,
seen us so backlogged on questions.
Holy shit! All right.
Yeah, we got some catching up to do.
Oh man,
that's
all right, well, we're
great.
gonna have to-
Yeah, Celadon Dream Suite wants to know, what album would you say is the platonic ideal of a vaporwave album?
Shit.
Oh, that was interesting.
Such a great question.
Shit. I mean, don't say this is a cop out answer because I actually put it in my crate the other day, but the Midnight Television album.
Okay, the
Oh,
one with the road.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
That's
Neon.
like, I mean, that was the first one that
Yeah, the
came
grid.
in mind when you asked that question. Yeah.
Very cool. No, that's an OG.
I do feel like that's kind of a cop. If I think of another one,
I don't think it's
I'll
cop
say it.
out, but hey.
It's a good choice.
I am King Quartz. Question for Strip. What was a metal band that was huge that you couldn't stand?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great question, too.
I remember going to a show in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it.
I think it was like Dillinger and Converge. It was a metal fest, but like that band, like The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh,
was
not a
there,
fan.
It was like when that type of
I
shit
feel like-
was like.
Somebody in chat was shouting them out earlier.
Dude, that's a generational divide thing.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot
some
of people
white
probably
belt
love
shit.
them. Like, I would always myself like take like obviously or something like Blood Brothers over that any day.
Fuck
But
yeah.
Other people,
You know they're touring
Other people-
again?
that's fine. I mean, I really can't listen to a
He
lot
said
of
that's
2000s
fine.
info, and I know that's
Is Blood Brothers FSU gang?
Where
Dan
are they
United?
from?
Blood. You're thinking of Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah, I am.
That's
Friends Dan
fine.
United, run by the famed now relatively successful filmmaker Elgin James.
FSU, right?
Found it.
the
I'm
best.
very familiar with them because they were pretty prominent. They had pretty prominent presence in the Philadelphia hardcore scene as well.
Yep.
One of my very good friends, Joe Hardcore, very good friend of mine, used to be involved with them. Joe, who sets up the This Is Hardcore festivals and everything.
My cousin was
That's
put
fine.
me onto all that game.
Group called we had a straight edge gang called Nine Circle in Philadelphia prior to that, and I think they like were jumped into FSU at one point in the early 90s, late 2000s, and now I think that whole culture is kind of gone now, though. I think.
Yeah. It's a different world now. Yeah.
Videodrome TV's got a good one for you. Question
Whoa!
for
Shout
Strip.
out Videodrome.
Shout out
This crew,
Videodrome.
I'm
Great
not
guy.
sure. I feel like I could definitely see it coming back. I think kids get bored.
Gangs?
Youth crew is, I guess, is what you would maybe call it. I could see that coming back.
Yeah.
But no, Blood Brothers is more like Blood Brothers is sort of the culmination of like dance punk and scrams and like experimental stuff that was palatable for a mainstream audience. You never listened to Blood Brothers?
No, I did. I just literally every time I always confuse them with Blood for Blood. I'm like, aren't they FSU?
Yeah, definitely not.
Videodrome
Yeah.
TV. Joints, blunts, bowls, or bongs?
Depends on how much you got. I would say like if it's not a quantity issue like blunt. But yeah, always have the bong ready. You know, put the
Hell
blunt
yeah.
in the bong when it's
Put the blunt in the
halfway
bong.
done.
Damn.
Yeah,
God damn.
you ever done that?
Hardcore.
I don't really speed, no.
San
Unless I'm at
Gabriel
a
music.
festival. And then if I'm doing a bunch of other substances, I'm better with it. It makes me, it doesn't work for me. Or I just never found the right strain. I should maybe just consult with you about this actually, so I can find a good one.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
the,
you
I'm the
would know.
expert, right?
Well, no, you have.
Right? I work in the
San
industry. for
San
everything.
Gabriel music wants to know how many push-ups you can do.
Come to my house and find out, bro. I know where you live.
Damn.
What's up, San Gabriel?
Shout out to the homie.
You want to do push-ups next time we have a cookout? All right, fine.
In Rail, what's the most vaporwave video game console?
He's gonna say. I would think he would say GameCube.
I would think so too.
I'm gonna say Dreamcast.
That is what was said in chat.
Dreamcast.
Say Dreamcast as well, just the name.
God, there's some good
It's
questions
got to be
in chat.
Dreamcast. Listen,
Yeah,
it's got to
it's
be
like-
Dreamcast. A, because of the name, and B, because of its like short period of existence.
Right. It's kind of like a cult classic.
It was mostly vaporware, like the hype.
That's the whole that it failed, and there was so much
Yep.
promise behind it. Just get
Saturn
the iron.
too. You might be able to say. But.
You're right, but Dreamcast, the name too, sounds like it, like just very fitting. And you know, whatever thing you choose has to have like irony in it somehow. And so, like, yeah, I think Dreamcast got a lot of irony.
Yeah.
Right.
That didn't take itself seriously. Yeah.
So,
Or
classic question. Rank in
That's a good
terms
choice too.
Yeah,
I
of
agree with you.
importance.
I know.
Three-
what
three-
you-
Track
or-
titles, album cover,
A CD.
album title. Put them in order, man.
Oh my god, I want to play the Jaguar right now. Sorry. People mentioning the
Yeah,
Jaguar.
we should
Jaguar-
talk to Equip about those.
Court's mentioning 3DO right now, and I'm like, oh man.
Jaguar is like a rose tinted glasses type thing. You go back, it's garbage.
Aw, I want to play
Dreamcast,
Splatterhouse.
I think you can still Splatterhouse, but that came out on like a lot of different formats though. Splatterhouse, there was a Genesis Splatterhouse game I remember.
Splatterhouse.
SNES, I think. Arcade is the main. I think that was like an arcade cabinet.
I feel like
Go
I
to a
remember
lot of
this game.
arcades.
Oh yeah.
You did?
So I grew up going to
It's a lot.
during the summers. Once in a while, we'd go to Fun Spot at Weirs Beach, which is like one of the like most world. That's where they held like Donkey Kong tournaments and like
What?
that Billy Mitchell type shit, the King of Kong shit. That all went down in Fun Spot.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that's like one of those like multi-floor arcades. But yeah, I always loved the arcades. Hampton Beach. But
I used to in arcades when I was a kid. It was fun.
what'd you say?
As a kid as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that. I hope that doesn't go away. That whole experience.
Real shit, man.
It's still going strong here in Portland. Like, if you come to Portland, go to Ground Control. They have a pretty like authentic experience there. And it looks like war games. Like they have all these
Ooh,
like, crazy.
shall
like,
we play
lights and
a game?
switches and stuff. Yeah, I feel like I'm walking into like the war games place. But yeah, did I answer that question?
No, you didn't. Let's hear the rank in terms of importance. Track titles, album cover, and album title.
So, I'd say my best experience was making the art first. Then, I guess kind of like separately, like working on music with throwaway names and then finding or thinking of interesting track names and then like matching them. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I'd say I don't know if I'm going to try to follow my own advice with that again, but maybe artwork start first.
Yeah, your artwork has always been super iconic, and you do it yourself, right?
So on isometric and out of office, I did it, and then I did one for Bounty Ballad. Shout out.
Yeah. No, that shit was great. The decaying castle.
Yeah, the tower. But
Yeah.
yeah, like stencil style, like flat
Mhm.
colors.
I like it.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's fun. It's fun doing stuff by yourself, but at some point gets overwhelming. It's also like fun to like find people that are fun to work with and like,
Right.
you know, delegate some stuff.
I'm going to skip ahead to a recently asked question that has exactly to do with that. Videodrum wants to know how you approach creating album art.
So, I mean, that style is mostly like a stencil style. So, I'll like make a collage of like photographs on like a Photoshop layer or whatever. I use GIMP, but and then
Shout out Gimp.
Yeah.
Use that.
yeah,
Shout out third party shit. Hell yeah.
yeah, yeah. Shout out open source. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
fuck Adobe, dude.
For real.
So then I'll stencil. I'll do like an outline layer, and then I'll do like paint layers, and you know, throw some textures in there and stuff. Another fun thing for me about doing that type of art is like choosing the color palette. So I usually work
Right.
with like 3 to 5 base colors, and then just kind of do different shades of that. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's pretty much it. I don't like to go too crazy. I also like to keep things kind of simple. But yeah,
It's always really like a soft palette. Like not pastel, but like kinda, you know?
yeah. So funny thing about Out of Office, Luxury Elite's a good friend of mine. Shout out
Shout out
she's,
Lux.
She has chromesthesia, I believe you call it, synesthesia, chromesthesia, whatever you want to call it. So she hears things, she sees like colors. So I was like, well, here's like my favorite Luxury Elite songs. Like, tell me what color you see for each of these. And so she did. She gave me like the Pantone numbers and everything. And
That's cool.
so I kind of
That's
I
awesome.
beat-
Oh wow, so specific.
That's
I
really
love that.
cool.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So I based that album art off of her color interpretation of my favorite Luxury Elite song.
Damn, that's cool. I didn't know that.
What a very fascinating jumping off point to engaging in the creative process. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I love the fact
I
that
love that.
it's almost like a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's very how charming.
Yeah, no, I love that.
So
I should know that, but I guess I didn't.
before getting into vaporwave, we all were. What's that?
No, I didn't know that he created the album and chose the colors based on the colors that she heard
Yep.
while
Fun
listening to
fact.
his favorite track. I didn't know
No,
that.
that's really cool. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, I mean, COVID was a very isolating time for everyone, and that was kind of like when I got into. And it started by something I was kind of seeking out. It was like vaporwave was like a very like. It felt like you're in your own pocket dimension, and nothing. Image doesn't matter. Nothing. Status doesn't matter. It's just you're existing in your own little private world. And I thought it was just all archaeology. Like I thought everyone was done with it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Why would you think there was anybody? I get it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can.
It's kind of antiquated sounding.
Well, I mean, it's literally antiquated sounding. That's
Yeah.
the texture, right? But no, but I can understand that. Well, okay, if this began then there's
Yeah.
there's no
Exactly.
way. You know?
Yeah.
It's
By
like,
2021.
and
Yeah.
I'm playing amongst the the bones now, right? You
And
know?
then and
Playing
so then I
against
found
bones.
like,
I'm scavenging artifacts now, right? But anyway,
and I started figuring out people were still around, and then the high society show and stuff, and then I realized how much
you
other people
like
actually
that,
mattered to me, and like community mattered, and like
Were you Chronicon or anything like that?
the first one I went to was 2023.
You saw
That was a
that-
magical
So-
experience.
Yeah, so when everyone got back, was going back outside, I was there for that.
Nice.
The like return of IRL, I guess. Yeah, so it's like it's really fun working with people, like
Hell yeah.
and being in the community and just trying to like be the person that you would want to be around. That's
Pause for a
like,
second. I didn't realize that Swack was originally was going to be a collaboration with Wasted Nights.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty nutty.
I wonder how it would have sounded.
Right. Great track. Speaking of Lux, great question. And it's about tracks. Out of all of your tracks, Strip, which one is your favorite?
Shit, man. That's hard.
Damn, I would have loved to have heard that. That song. I wish I had.
Well, you've had the one track, Kid Grid, got kind of big.
Yeah, I would say that's the one people kind of like.
Yeah, that's your
responded
Swack.
to. Yeah.
But yeah, you must have.
There's tracks that like grow on me that I didn't like as much first. I like Cerebral Defrag. I've been starting a lot of sets with that.
It's a badass name. Damn. It's a fucking
Yeah,
in-rail
like, it's
track
just,
title
like,
name.
It's very dirty. It's mostly just samples and
Man, that
chopping.
raw shit is the best shit, though.
I'm a big fan of like Lux, for example. She at one point she was like, "You sound like this guy Drips."
Yeah.
And I started listening. I'm like, I'm like, that's a huge compliment. Which is another thing about vaporwave that doesn't really resonate in the hip hop community is like being like they look at it as like being called like a sound alike. It's like, I don't know. It's like an honor to me to like when I was dropping my first stuff, like, oh, this reminds me of this person and that person.
Yeah.
To me, it's more like, okay, maybe I don't want to sound like anybody, and I know I'm not going to, like, ultimately, but it means I'm resonating with people. I'm on
Right.
to something, I guess. But there's
That's
not
a tricky
as much-
compliment. Some people like it, and some people really don't.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. In hip hop, it's like there's such an oversaturation anyway that's like probably the last thing you want to be called is like a sound alike.
Yeah, good
You're
point.
trying to stand out. But it's all
Well,
about what
Drips
you want
is
to
so
do.
good. Like, that's a
Drips
compliment
is
in my
hard.
book too.
And they were early in and out of the game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just make the music that I want
Right.
to make to be happy, man. I don't really like I love my friends and I love the people that love my music, but I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not like chasing numbers or anything like that. I don't even log into my stats or whatever. I just kind of go off.
I feel like
what
you'll
my friends
give it a
say.
lot more personal fulfillment that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'd killed my ego with mushrooms a long time ago.
There you go.
Nicely
man.
done. Good work.
Got a great question. Shreddy Kruger.
Go.
As a fan of hip hop, Strip, did you resonate with Vapor Trap before classic Vaporwave? And follow-up question, do you wish for more current Vapor Trap? Or is it time for something new to evolve?
So, well, I feel like there's not a lot. There definitely, I have all those old, like, 4chan Vaporwave collections and stuff. And back then, the Vapor Trap section wasn't very big at all in it. There's still a lot of room, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
Because you only think of, there's only, like, a handful of main names that you think of. And, but a lot, I don't know, are there a lot of other, like,
May I suggest exploring some of those Barber Beats albums I mentioned at the top of the show because they have
I'm
some
glad you
interesting
brought
beats
that
there.
up again because I was trying to, I don't know if I fully understand what you're saying, but there's like, you're saying that there's a bunch of artists in Barber Beats that are like kind of influenced by like that sound. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the Barber beats
More
that I've
hip-hop.
heard that resonated with me kind of felt like late night lo-fi with like the loungy type aspect of it.
So
The stuff that
I'm actually
hit.
so I'm trying to get away from the stuff that sounds more like that. That's what I'm specifically
Really?
trying to get away
Okay.
from in that.
Because
in
that's
that
the only
world.
thing I've heard that I actually liked. But
Can
man,
we just
I'm gonna get
if
stuff
it's-
that's a little bit more
if it's
different.
progressing, I'm super open
Well,
to it.
Lux is saying why? Because there's already a genre that does that.
Yeah,
there's
true.
already a
No, I
subheading.
agree. I'm
There's
just saying,
already
like,
a subheading.
a lot of the
It's
stuff
called late night,
that I like,
called
it's like,
late
oh
night
yeah, this late night
lo-fi.
lo-fi is great. It's like, oh, that's a Barber Beats album, and I'm like,
But
Can
I
we?
already
Well,
have
really?
late night
Okay.
hold on a
lo-fi.
second. Hold the phone. Can we just have like a 30-second? Let's all get on the same page about like what exactly is Barber Beats. Like,
It's
what's the
stuff-
defining? Like,
I feel like it's just like
characteristics of
the
it?
sources
Alright,
are lounge and
first-
chill out songs.
Wait, let's talk just for
Yeah.
a few simple moments. Okay, so I believe it starts off. Obviously, it's influenced by haircuts for men. It's
Sure.
artists that are making that sort of sound with that
Sure.
loungy sort of like I'm
Kind
sitting
of
in
like
the
Twilight to Windows 96. The same kind of.
waiting room of a bathhouse. All right,
Okay.
and that's kind of what the sound is, and that the sonic portion comes from. And now if we're going to start talking about the visual aspect. I think that started off as the most important portion of it because a lot of stuff in vaporwave and all other kinds of music, the art direction is very important,
Right.
almost as important, or as we had this conversation about song title track and content, music content. Where do you rank the importance? Well, these are people who I think came in as graphic designers that had interesting
Yeah.
things to say, and I thought the music initially might have been. I could be completely on this. Almost sounded like a little bit more of an afterthought. You know what I mean?
Very, yeah.
So
I agree.
It has there's a very strong, dramatic visual associated with them as well. That's sort of derived initially from some kind of haircuts for men-ish sort of looking stuff, but taken to a much further, more professional grade level, right? Like their album covers, they're interesting and they look different.
They
than
really do
any
look
other
good.
type of vaporwave aesthetic. And I
Okay.
think, and that it started off with that, and it was a little bit either like the haircuts for men sort of thing, or it was just very like obvious vaporwave sound. And I would say that as time has progressed, it's been time for the music to catch up to being its own thing as well.
Mhm.
And I think that when I mentioned the albums at the top of the show by like Time Fragment or Slower Pace, I think that they're doing that. And I think if you go check out that stuff,
I think that's
you'll
the
find
creme de
some-
la creme.
They like started tuning those drums. Like they've really started doing a lot
Okay.
with the sizzle in those drums. They're doing a lot, and
Sizzle.
there are a lot of like, and it's feeling like the waiting room is getting bigger. It's not so much it's the
Okay.
waiting room of a bathhouse, but we've expanded the waiting room into a forum. And so stuff's happening
Okay.
all over the sounds. Things are coming in and leaving out. It's becoming more. The music is turning more into scenery, which is a good thing. You want it to be scenery with this kind of thing. Like
yeah,
there's a
I like the
bird chirp over
terminology
here.
you're using. It's piquing my interest
I'm very good
because
with
I feel like a lot of
talking
Barber
stuff.
Beats is like lo-fi hip hop beats to relax, study to
Yeah, that's
vaporwave
not
edition.
what it is anymore. That's why I brought it up at the top of the show. That's why I'm like I think
Respect.
people heard this and they think they understand it, but they don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
that's
pretty
fine.
much on the same page, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. For sure.
There we go.
Fuck, did I even answer the question?
I don't remember what it
Fuck,
was.
We got a couple more. You want? We'll just move to the next one. We got some.
N5X is yeah.
Sorry, Vapor Trap.
Go back and listen to his new stuff too, because it's really gone
yeah,
crazy.
that's what I was about to say. Like short-term agreement is, I think, the latest one that he did, and there's some stuff that's almost like dance house, like ravey type. It's
Damn,
like, I
really?
think it was like ravey.
Okay, because he had a phase that was very
His
like
stuff-
funk, and
With vocals too. He's doing a lot
Oh,
more.
wow,
with-
okay.
with
I
guest
need to catch up.
vocals and
He had a
female
few albums with the
vocals.
guest vocals. Even several years ago, he had that guest vocals album
Yeah.
with the black
Yeah,
head on
some of it I don't like, but some of it really fucks for sure.
that he's just go check out the new stuff, man. I just check out that I mentioned at the top of the show the on there with his singles. It's really good.
Yep.
I really
Yep.
like
Yep.
it. It's fast becoming another one. of
Blood
my
Rage
favorites.
was another good one by
Blood
like,
Rage was really good.
Yep.
Very like
That
yeah, serious like went from
Stop.
vapor trap to like some serious hip hop beats.
Oh, that's what I was. Okay, I remember now. That like, is there a lot more sample based vapor trap type stuff other than N5Xs?
Good question,
Yeah,
because
a
I feel
lot
like a
of
lot
it
of the
is, like,
sub-Aris and Vapor
Instruments.
was not.
What
And like,
You're
of
gonna
course,
have to
Eco Virtual was all samples too.
Oh yeah, Eco Virtual is fucking. I spin.
Yeah, it's
that
great
all
shit.
The time. Nimbus.
Yeah,
Taspo
my
is a
next,
really good lesser known one.
My next album is all beats of that for the most part in the songs.
Oh, yeah,
You
dude.
know what I mean?
It's
My
it's
next
gonna be good.
album, is all, but mine
Probably
much-
mix
is
well with
more
all of
witch-
that stuff.
Mine more Witch House influence though,
Nice.
but
Yep. Oh, it's gonna be good.
beat. Appreciate it. Isaac's heard it.
Hell yeah.
I've heard. I skimmed it. I want to be surprised just like everybody else does.
Next two
You know.
said Blank Banshee. I mean, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, Blank Banshee. There's one that I really like, and I want to say they're called Paragon. That's a whole bunch of like katakana and stuff, and I'm pretty sure it's. I don't think it's samples. Cobalt Road. That's right. Thank you, Roge. Cobalt Road.
Cobalt Road. That's
Some
a
good
great
stuff.
Suggestion.
Yeah.
Another question though, because
Yep.
you know,
Darian
time
Shields,
such.
favorite beer strip.
Oh, what's up? What's up?
Shout
Jerry?
out Darian. All right.
You guys
Favorite.
gotta go- Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm about to talk about that. Favorite beer? He asked.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I've just been drinking cheap shit lately.
You're drinking that Trader Joe's shit.
I like a good IPA. Yeah, if money's no object, I'd probably go for like a Caldera. That's like a nice local one.
Caldera.
I think they're local. Maybe you can get them other places now, but yeah, I like a good, IPA, man, for sure. It's like the weed of beer, very hoppy.
It is. Yeah, very, very botanical. Crispy Doodles wants to know
Yeah.
about your hair routine.
Uh,
You do have the most
the first
iconic
thing
hair
I
in
learned-
Vaporwave.
Oh shit!
We'll
dude.
flash
What
that,
the fuck what the fuck am I gonna do when I don't have it?
Flash that still
then
real
I'm
quick.
finished. I'll have to
thought
rebrand
I had
like
the
Phil
still.
Collins.
There we go.
Uh,
Look at that shot.
uh,
I'm showing the Revlon ad strip from Tape Swap.
oh,
4.
okay. Yeah, I think Quiz took that picture.
That's crazy
Shout out
good
Quiz.
photo.
Isn't that
Wow.
a great
Like-
photo? Holy shit!
That's such a good. That's the most dramatic.
It's
photo.
because I'm a headbanger when I perform.
There
so
was
it
a
like me
fan,
coming
yeah.
back up, and yeah, I think there was a fan. So yeah, my hair got better when I started doing less stuff. Like,
Really?
Don't wash it every day.
Oh yeah, don't.
I don't put a lot of product in it.
Unreal.
I'll throw some like hair lotion in there once in a while and like put it like a heat brush through it or something. But I don't know a whole hell of a lot about taking care of hair because most of my life I had short hair up until about like
Wow.
2015, and then I just wore it up in a bun all the time, which was not good for it.
Oh yeah, I do that, and I'm told it's really, really bad.
Yeah, don't do this with the towel when you're drying, because that'll just like break your hair.
Oh wow, good to know.
Yeah, a lot of it will just fall out if you just don't treat it well, and then you'll think you're like going bald, but you're not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, like I dry mine with a t-shirt instead of a towel.
Nice.
There's a good trick.
Is there? Okay, that's a good trick. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So avoid the
Salt
terry
in my
cloth.
hair. That's what I do. I spray it with sea salt.
Sea salt. Unreal. Limerence Music. Have you seen King of Kong?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, no, that was a fucking great documentary. I love how it just put Billy Mitchell on the map as like the king douche.
Sure, man. He's a character.
Yeah,
He thinks he.
I love
I mean,
it.
I love it though. He says
Yeah.
it so seriously when he speaks too. Like you just
Who's
I
Billy
know.
Mitchell?
man.
His whole life, like every part that like his whole life, it just kept getting more fascinating, and just like the hot sauce thing, and just like it's hilarious, and like he still won't let it go to this day. Like he's still holding on to that shit.
There was he's like talking about how there were like, we had all these like groupies. And I'm like, did you have groupies for this too? Huh? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they show a picture of him when he's like 15, like winning the fucking first whatever like winning the score that he's been talking about his whole
He's
life.
not the guy that movie Fistful of Quarters is about, is it?
Isn't that the same? Isn't that just the subtitle of the movie, King
Maybe.
of Kong?
I don't know.
I've
I've read about it. I haven't actually seen it. Showing that I'm not informed about.
Bro,
this.
you should watch that movie.
Yeah, it probably
You would love
sounds
You should
based on
watch
what
it
people are saying in chat like
Lux.
something. Yeah, it sounds like something I'd enjoy. Sounds like a real freak show.
Because it's one of those documentaries.
It's a subtitle, yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's one of those documentaries where they're really able to like make a story, like a little hero's journey story out of it. Like there's he's the villain and stuff. Like it's not just like a boring nature documentary. It's got like a story. But
Damn, badass. We got another banger.
Yeah,
Lux doing the most. Thank you for keeping track of all the questions tonight. I've done a terrible job. You've done a wonderful job. From Celadon Dream Suite. After hearing all of your influences earlier in the show, what's an album you're really into that would surprise people? Asking those young Shiro questions tonight.
Well, I'm screwed because I talked about like every kind of music. Shit. What's an album that would surprise people? That I was. You ever heard that Christina Aguilera album? That's like it's like a double album with, or it's like a double album, but like DJ Premier produced like one of the albums. Like DJ Premier produced
Christina Aguilera album?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither. Damn.
Let me back my shit up. Hold on.
Listen to a lot of instrumentals.
Back to Basics.
Mm.
That's a great fucking pop album produced with a lot of production by
Dude,
DJ
good production
Premier.
really
The
does
best.
propel an album.
Yep. And that's probably
hold on, you keep talking. I'm sorry.
I feel like there's another album somewhere in the back of my head where it's like the same case. It's like it was produced by someone awesome, and it's like it's a different genre, but that's what makes it awesome.
Right. It'll come to you later, and then you'll tweet about it.
Right. Oh, Executioners did a Linkin Park project. That was dope too.
Basic. You know what? The only thing that actually, remember the Back to Basics album? That was originally. I remember that originally going to be a big production thing with her. Do you know who Scott Storch is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, you do. So Scott Storch and Christina had done like a lot of work together in the past. They had a falling out, and he was supposed to produce an album with her. I think that was one of the phases when he was going through his big drug phase.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm
guess
sure
it ended up
cocaine
going-
had something to do with
he's
it.
He's still like a little bit bitter about that Back to Basics, because I was like, why do I remember seeing these things of that. Scott Storch, that's a guy.
Yeah,
That's a
but
guy.
Interesting guy. That's a guy.
that's a specific type of sound, and I feel like
Very
what it ended-
specific type of sound.
yeah, and it was
all
more
over
club
the
oriented.
2000s.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was more for the
Like a
club.
song like Lean Back or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mhm.
And DJ Premier, I mean, he's been sampling very early, so it's like he's
one of
samples
the
a lot of
most
jazz
interesting.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he might be one of the most interesting sample-based producers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
ever. He's
Like
maybe one of the
Diggers.
most influential potentially.
Yeah,
in like
Q-Tip.
modern music.
Large Professor,
Ju-
like all those guys, they just really know how to
For,
dig,
like,
man.
As for like what you might, that kind of like the more popular version of like a backpacker rap sort of beat, like it's a DJ Premier style thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean that's I think
Yep.
the most
Very like
the most
open
influential.
production.
Yeah, it's like
noise.
well-known sound. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
It's like Premiere was interesting because it was experimental, but deep, very palatable. very easy to sell to a mainstream, very like easy for a mainstream audience to understand, and but still, yeah. Guy.
Damn, you know what
Fuck
sucks? We
What?
gotta wrap up.
Damn it.
I know.
Sorry.
So what's some shit that you want to promote? Some people you want to shout out? Anything special you want to say about yourself or anything at all before we have to call it a night? It's too early, I know.
Flew by, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Always does.
Yeah, so I am doing a project with Darian Shields.
Hell
it's
yeah.
Called
that sounds awesome.
Rose and Rain is the name of it.
Sick name.
And Darian's doing vocals. I put out a single that's kind of like an alternate mix. It's like, I call it echo mix because it's kind of like more of like that vibe, like a sample bass, but he's doing vocals on it. And yeah, it's just kind of New Jack Swing type,
Ooh.
semi romantic, dark, dramatic type stuff. Darian's awesome. He writes super fun stuff, super cool stuff, and we do it all in person. He comes over and we write together, and
It's badass.
It's fun, like doing a project with somebody that you're comfortable with and you trust and stuff. And yeah, I know him for a couple of years now. Awesome dude. Everyone in Portland that were kind of like Limmy and San Gabriel.
You hang out with Limmy? Man, I gotta get up to, I've been wanting to visit
I
Portland
gotta get up there
forever.
too. We were just talking
'cause
about Portland today.
Well,
Lisa and I.
I wanting to visit Portland.
And that's kind of what we've been trying to put together, like a group of people to like make that a possibility for other friends and stuff, and like have like we got a little Discord server with a bunch of people that are just trying to be active around town right now, different connections to different venues and stuff, and just trying to keep it going. And I would like to be able to have friends fly through and have something for them to do,
Hell yeah.
So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Working title for the album right now is Parallel Compassion.
All right.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a date on it or anything. I don't know who we're gonna drop it with. But I would I think we got like 10 songs written.
Ooh.
Just,
all right.
They just need to be fleshed out and stuff.
Mhm.
And
Very cool.
homie Fifth Sequence is on the mastering. He's got a master. I live at his house, and he's got a whole mastering suite in the garage. That it's like a finished garage, but
Too cool.
yeah. Shout out everybody.
What else you got for us?
For stuff that's going on, my friends that do drum and bass in town, they got a group called Proper Movement. I've seen some of the live streams. Yeah, I've been kind of handling the live stream for like a run of shows that we've been doing where he's been kind of flying out like some pretty big names from all over the place into town. So it's Technology Infantry is his name, and then the Dirt Merchant is my other friend there, and then also MC Question Mark is he kind of was a pretty big name. I mean, he is a big name, but like since like a long time ago in like jungle drum and bass scene, and he does like the MCing like on the mic and stuff. And yeah, so we're going to keep doing that in like URL shows and stuff, and then we're working on this other kind of program that we're going to like bring like a wider set of electronic subgenres to an audience. So like I'll be like kind of exposing like vaporwave to like a wider audience and just playing other people's stuff. And
Nice.
yeah,
Very nice.
so yeah, shout out to them. propermovementdnb.com. You can find all the info for when we're doing. I think we're doing something maybe this month, maybe October, November. We were trying to do one a month, so by next month they'll probably have something booked. But
Badass.
yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna drop a solo at some point too, but that's kind of on the back burner right now. There's a couple other projects too that I'm just gonna leave as rumor for now.
All right.
Just because I gotta catch up with them, but
Right.
yeah.
Keep it on Morphus.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of been a little aloof lately, not as online as I have been. So sorry to anybody that I've been missing, but I love you guys. Feel free to drop me a line.
Aw. You heard it on Hot Takes.
Be good to each other, yeah, man. This is
Couldn't have said it better.
This is a really unique thing. Like I said, I don't know. I hope it's like this forever, but this is a very unique community where you have access to a lot of really awesome and talented people, but also at the same time respect that too. Don't ruin a good thing.
Right.
Don't smother people
Well
and don't
said.
drive them away.
That-
But yeah, it's great, man. It's really brought me back into going out there and doing artistic stuff and being able to express myself. So thank you guys for all that.
What a wonderful
guys-
to have you on. I love hearing you
recap,
say
man.
that.
Thank
because,
you.
newer, people not newer, but who got into it not too long ago, like you or Jumper Kimmins, when you guys talk about it, and I was like, some of us who have been here for 10 years plus forget that sometimes. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, it's facts.
I definitely want to express that and perpetuate that feeling of what that's like. And I always look up to all you guys. I still feel like a fan first.
No, you're.
It feels
you're a
weird being
colleague.
on this right now.
You're a cohort. What a fitting end for tonight's episode. Perfect
Yeah,
message.
great stuff.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Any no, thank you, man. Strip Silence, everybody.
Absolutely.
Check out his work. Say hello. Make friends with him. You won't regret it. Anything you want to say before we end the night, Skelly?
Well, we just did Eclipse yesterday, so the next one will be in a few months.
Yeah, it looked badass.
Aside from that, nothing I can announce just yet. But also, the new album is, I told you, it's done, it's mastered, but it's Secret Schools is an artist, and he's doing the layout work, the art direction.
Iconic.
For it, so I can't push him. He's gonna do what he's
Yeah.
gonna do.
Oh,
and
he
it's
did
gonna
such a
take the
great
time
job
it's
on
take.
those Geolol telepath reissues.
He does 90% of the art direction for Geometric Lullaby. So the man's
Very
a
skilled
genius.
guy.
And so if you've seen any release from Geometric Lullaby, you understand what this person's capable of. So I get messages oh, hey, what if I did this? Would you mind if I messed around with this file you sent me? And I'm like, yeah, whatever you want, man. I trust you.
Yeah, you're
So
the magician.
Shout out Dennis.
And he's also very busy too, and he's got
Shout out Dennis.
He's got family. He's got a family too. So, can't push the genius too hard, but I'm hoping to have it. It'll be out soon. It'll be out on Hush Tones, the sister label to Geolull for the.
It's a Brick Mason's label, right?
suppose. Yeah, and
Yep. Shout out Brick Mason.
Any hater tell you that Secret Schools doesn't do good design? Who would tell? Who?
What
who
kind
in God's
of
name ever say
idiot
that?
would say
What kind of
that?
monster would say that? What monster would say something like that? That's
Y'all go
pretty-
check out
they
Skelly's
must be
photography Insta. What's the name of your new photography?
blind.
Insta
So I've been
page?
doing that to pass the time. I've gotten into putting together these little mixed media designs. I turned my room into a studio and bought a bunch of crazy lights and a bunch of 35mm cameras and lenses. It's Death Romantic, DEATH
Romantique.
_ Romantique.
as in romance,
Yeah.
and antique, ROMANTIQUE. If you want to check out my stuff,
I think
that's
it's
fine.
cool.
It's fun. I do it for funs, but yeah, you guys can check out.
Lighting is
That's
great.
romantic. It's linked in my Instagram also.
Y'all got, I think Vapor Rays is still happening September 21st, unless anything has changed. So be sure to tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern. Utopia District is putting on that event to raise funds for ALS, or like, you know, raise awareness. I've got a neo R&B set I'm debuting. I don't recall who's doing my visuals. This is embarrassing, but whoever it is definitely going to get shouted out as I discover who it is. And then, of course, we had Vapor Loot on the 6th and 7th, put on by Rabbit Hole Club and Los Colossus. And Los Colossus did phenomenal work with the visuals for my ambient music set. So that happened, and I was very pleased with it, and can't wait to put it on YouTube because I just thought they did such a phenomenal job with the visuals, and I was amazed at the turnout. Great job with Vapor Loot, if you're listening. And then, of course, a event that we're playing ads for right now, before and after the show, may or may not be involved in. We'll have to just find out and see. But thanks so much for being here, guys. OG fans and new chatters alike. We're so happy y'all made it. Strip, it was delightful. You are delightful.